The world is changing. So what will you do? Look around. Jobs are gone. It's a different world. So what are we going to do? Hello and welcome. My name's Cambell. This is Spiral Up. And what a world we live in. What a year and a half we've had. So many things have gone on, but really the major thing that's gone on is people's lives have changed. No matter what kind of version of the story they're believing, everyone's been disrupted. What is it? Probably a third of the world has been put out of work, unemployed. Now we have, real estate prices rising, goods and food rising, all this stuff going on, all these new things being forced upon us, and all these new things that they're trying to force upon us. So what do we do? What do we do here? Well, what we don't do is focus on the negative. Okay, so this is all about, you see, we don't really have problems. What we have are obstacles, things that we need to get over. And we also have challenges. So we have obstacles and we have challenges in our lives. We don't have problems. Problem's a silly word. I remember when I was young, someone said, just say problem 10 times. It's a dumb word. And if you do, it's a problem. It's stupid. So problems don't exist. Problems only exist in your mind. They are actually, what a problem is something that you can use to make you grow, or you can listen to the voice in your head and use it as something to keep you down and stop you. Okay, so it's the whole take one, take two. There are no mistakes. There are only mistakes. So when we try things, we have to understand that we're going to have resistance. And that resistance is just to make us grow. And so what do we do now? The world is closed down. The world is different. They're trying to force all this stuff. And if we focus on what they want, on the problems, then, they've pretty much got us. They're going to lower our vibration. And we need to do the opposite. So the best thing to do is ignore all the crap. Turn the telly off. Throw it out the window. Don't listen to any of this stuff. And if you do, if you need to, obviously we all need to know what's going on. We need to be, in the loop to some extent of what's happening in this crazy world. I just watch the comedy videos. I just watch the videos where they laugh at the stupidity, and that's basically the news these days anyway. So, if you need information, you don't need to go to mainstream news sources. I would stay away from that stuff because it's just all mind manipulation, spells, just programming, BS, and it will make you believe that their narrative is we're stuffed. You have to stay in a city, and we're going to be controlled. But we can make a different decision. We can ask ourselves, what do we want? What is the world we want to create? What is the world we want to leave behind for our children? How do we want to be remembered? Do we want to be ruled? Do we want to live our lives under the constraints of other people who are clearly at the lowest level not good people, at the highest level probably nothing like humans? If we listen to their rules, then they're controlling our lives. And we know, if we weren't sure, 18 months ago, we're sure now. These people are devils. Okay, they're evil. Devil. And of course, God, Adonai, good. God is good, devil is evil. This is simple stuff. And these people are clearly the latter. They're the low vibrations. And so we can't take that on. The more attention we give that, the more it will become us. So we need to decide what we want to do. What is it you want to do? Do you have an inner artist, an inner author, an inner musician? Are you a builder? Do you want to get out there and build stuff? Are you a gardener? Are you a mad scientist like Bernie, Professor Bernie? Are you into, science or electronics, building, devices and things? What is it? What is it that you could do? And this is that old thing, right? What would you do for no money? And that's really, they used to ask that back in the 80s when people just thought that, you have to have money, right? Now we understand that's not the case. So it really is, what would you do if you weren't getting paid for it? And that's what we need to start doing, because that's where the value is. Whatever you love is what your gift is what your skill is. Whatever you can get lost in and do for 5 hours and not and get out of that 3D time. You do 5 hours and it's like you've been there for 10 minutes. That's what you should be doing. That's where your value is. And this is what we need to do. Our value has been robbed from us. We're all born with skills and value and things. We're all pieces of the puzzle. But when we're put in jobs, just above broke, right? Jobs, we have no time for ourselves, for our skills, to work on what makes us happy and what we're here to give to the world. And this is one of the biggest scams. They completely shut us down. So we need to reject that and get out there and just have a different mindset and understand that it's not all about money. To start with, we clearly still need to be able to trade, with the corporation for, during this transition. There's no use going out and sitting in the mud and starving. But we need to start making moves away from that system and starting our own, economies or whatever they are, so that we can trade within our own communities without having to, trade with Babylon. Because once that happens, the only way they exist is by stealing all the, the tax money here and there and getting their fingers into everything. As soon as we don't trade with them, they're gone. They're gone already, and they know it. Ringing and screaming all the way. But this is what we need to do: is recognize it's a new world, and if we continue this, how much money will I get for it? How will I survive? Blah 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 blah. That's living in Babylon still. That's the old world. That's gone. It's gone. It really has. And so it's time for us to understand that and to trust. It's time to trust that the universe has your back. That if you go out and you take those steps, towards a future that you want, that the universe will be there. It will have you back. You won't be left on your own. This is what they want you to believe, that it's so hard, and if you do this, you'll fail. But seriously, look around at the stories. Look into the stories. People never fail unless they've got the wrong intention. The universe always has your back if you're being you, because that's what it's here to do, is to empower us, So this is what we need to do, is really focus on what are we here for? What are our skills? What makes us happy? What would we just, what's the ultimate life? What's the work that we want to do and leave behind? And focus on that. How can you pass on knowledge? What have you got to teach, other people, your children, the children around? And this, another thing, is building communities back. It's a massive thing that we need to do. Get away from these square boxes with fences, right? Because this is what they do. First they get the world, they divide it into countries, and they divide the countries into states. Then they divide the states into, whatever, territories, suburbs, and then all the houses in those suburbs, they divide into little bits of land with fences. This is all they do. Divide, 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 divide. Put lines up everywhere, walls. We need to rip those walls down and understand it's all a scam. If we work together, we in such a short amount of time, we'll be able to build a world that is so much better than the one that we've experienced over the last age. But we need to trust in ourselves that that's going to work. We need to understand that we don't need Babylon to look after us, because in the end, everything that you get from the system and the corporation, it's all tainted. Okay, it always ends up bad. It's all, It's like being at a casino, right? The odds are always tipped in the casino's favour. That's the same with the system. The odds are always tipped in their favour. So no matter what you do, even if you are, successful and hit a place where you can sort of live more of a lifestyle that you want, they're still just stealing your wealth. You should have been able to have a lot more than that and give a lot more back. Which is another thing, the whole money thing makes people, it's selfish. They think that if they don't have enough money that they're going to starve or their family's going to starve or something like this. But again, we need to get out of that belief system, understand that the universe does have our back. As long as we're being asked, standing in our power, living through our hearts, helping people and doing the right thing, then we're fine. And this is what's happening now. People are starting to realize that, because clearly all these fake jobs were not necessary. They weren't necessary. They were there to distract us and stop us from being who we are. Because now they've all gone and, everything's still functioning. So clearly they were just made up time distractions. That's all they were. So this is our world, guys. Okay, it's time to get it back. These parasites, this program that's been overlaid, is dying. They're losing control of the narrative very quickly. This is all going to get very interesting, but we need to stay focused on what we want to build. Sure, have a look at Clown World, have a bit of a laugh. Definitely still try and wake people up, but put your focus on where you're going. And even, you might not, this doesn't mean you have to go and buy 100 acres and build a farm, because most people don't have the ability to do that at the moment. You can start by growing veggies, in your backyard or whatever. Build a greenhouse, start building things, start working on free technology stuff, and spreading that information around. Start creating groups that meet up and discussing different things. There's so much we can do. Co-ops, if you want to get communities, co-ops, get people to all put in some funds. And there are other ways to get land as well. But this is it. We need to be smarter. We need to start thinking of ideas and how we're going to get to where we want to be, and stop worrying about, these perceived roadblocks, these perceived, obstacles and restrictions, when they're really just challenges. They're just there to challenge us and make sure that we really do want what we say we want and that we deserve it. And that's what we got to do, guys. That's where we are. We've really got to, drop the system, cut it off, and see it for what it is. There's nothing good about it. You can look at every angle of it, and it's all manipulation, it's all theft, it's all fraud, and it's all to devalue us and bring our energy down. So it's time to drop that thing like a hot potato, and focus on what we want. And like I say, have big dreams, but understand that, those, if the bigger the dreams are, the longer they're going to take to construct. So start with what you've got. Just start doing anything. As soon as you start acting, you'll start, creating things. As soon as you do that, then everything changes. Then you understand you're doing something. You're moving forward. You've got. You can see that there is a way out of this. And a way to get to where you want to be. Where if you just sit down and you're like, well, I need 100 grand for land first, and until that I can't do anything. Well, you're never going to do anything. That's called an excuse. It's an excuse that you're giving yourself. It's that voice in your head telling you, well, you can't really do it anyway. You'll probably fail. And you listen to it and go, well, I don't like that message, so I'll just change it to, I need 100 grand for land, and until then I can't do anything. And this is how we trick ourselves. The mind is the great trickster. It's a, that loud voice, we've given too much power to it. It's an overlay. It's a program. It's a great trickster. Your real voice is a lot more subtle and harder to hear because of all the noise that's been programmed over the top of it. So there you go, guys. We really need to focus on what we want to do. We are the power. We need to drop Babylon. We need to see it for what it is, an evil system that's been laid over the top. It's a program. It's a virus. It really is. That's been laid over the top to bring us down. And now we can see the physical manifestation of that. But like I said, it is all breaking down. So, do not always stay positive, build the energy, raise the vibes up, and start building what you want. And understand that all this other stuff is just a show to keep you down. It's just distraction. It doesn't exist unless you give it the power to exist. So go out there and build the life of your dreams. Start with what you've got, build on it, and you will definitely get there. And trust the universe has got your back. As long as you're heart-centered and you're coming from the right place, then the universe does have your back and always will. So there you go, guys. You do have greatness inside you. Hope you enjoyed that. Love you all, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.